I'm Chef Danie, and today we are making fried rice and egg drop soup. I'm going to teach you how to make this healthy meal right in your own home. We're going to get ready to make our fried rice, and the first thing we're going to do is get all of our veggies chopped up for the fried rice. So we're going to chop our onion first, and when you're chopping the onion, you want to cut off both ends of the onion. You want to cut through just the top layer and peel that top layer off. Now, I'm using a red onion today, or some people call these a purple onion or an Italian onion. They're called all of those. The reason that we're using this is because it has a beautiful color, and it also has a more tart flavor to it. So it's a little more pungent in our fried rice. It's going to add a little more flavor. It's not as mild as a white onion would be. So we're peeling that outside layer off just like that. And we're going to cut through the onion in half. And then we're going to lay it down and cut our strips into it. Now you want to cut into the onion, but not all the way through. If you can see, that goes almost to the end, but not quite. We're leaving a little bit attached. That's going to help us hold it into place. We're going to keep cutting those strips. Don't concentrate a lot on whether or not they're equal. They need to be kind of the same, but they don't have to be perfect. So then when you turn it this way and cut through, it cuts it into nice chunks for you, just like that. Now to start off a stir fry, you need the onions and garlic. We're building flavor in our wok. We're flavoring the pan as we're building our dish. So we're going to start with onions and garlic. And we're going to build lots of flavor in there to add to our fried rice. Now, fried rice is one of the most healthy dishes you can make at home, and it's super simple. You don't have to get takeout. You think stopping by and picking it up is easy. Wait till you see how easy this is going to be. So we've got our onions done. That's enough for our fried rice. Now we're going to pop and chop a little bit of garlic. So you just need about 2 cloves. Fresh garlic always. Lay the garlic on your board with the knife on top. Hit it like you mean it. We'll do the same for this one. And then that peels the garlic. The skin comes right off when you do that. All right. If it has a rough end on one side, you want to cut that off. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. These are fine today. You want to hold your hand in a bear claw so we don't cut any fingers off. And you want to slice through the garlic just like that. Now we're going to turn it this way and cut through one more time. It doesn't have to be a really fine chop. This is going to get cooked down in a really hot pan, so that's going to be good right there. Now when you're making stir fry, you can add whatever veggies you would like. I would recommend adding whatever's in season. So when you shop the market, look at all the vegetables and see what looks good to you. That's what needs to go in your stir fry. As I said, it's a really healthy meal, so you want to put the most veggies in it that you can. Well, today they had these beautiful sugar snap pea sprouts, and these are edible as well as the peas themselves. So what we want to do, since they're long and they're going to take up a lot of room in the pan, we're just going to give them a little rough chop. So we're just going to put a pile on our board, just like this. And we're not going to line them up. We're not going to try to make sure anything's perfect. We're just going to give them a little rough chop because we want to leave them kind of a little wild, but we want to get them under control a little bit so they'll fit in our pan. All right, so now we've got those. And like I said, if they don't have those at the store, buy something that they have that looks like it's in season. That's what's going to be the best for your meal. We have shiitake mushrooms. Shiitake mushrooms are typical in Asian food, but you could use any kind of mushroom that you like. They're always really beautiful on the top. They have this nice big top, and they have a really woody stem. The stem is great for making vegetable stocks. It's great for making broths, but not so good to eat. So we want to pull that stem off. Save that stem in your freezer. You should have a bag in there that you keep all these little vegetable pieces in, and when you go to make a stock or a broth, you have them all ready to throw in there. We're going to slice the mushrooms, not anything in any kind of order, just smaller pieces. That's what we're looking for to go in our pan. And shiitakes have a really great flavor. They're really strong. You get a great mushroom flavor out of them. And I like them in any food, but especially in fried rice. Let's do one more. There we go. Now, shiitakes can be picked up usually at your local farmer's market. A lot of people are growing mushrooms in their own home now. So you can get a little kit to grow shiitakes at home, but you can usually pick them up from a farmer, and that's going to be the best ones. They're going to have the most flavor because they're grown right there, picked fresh, and brought to the market for you. We're also going to slice a little zucchini. We're building color in our dish, so we want to make sure that we have all the colors that we can get in there. Anytime you cook with color, then you always are going to have a healthier dish. The zucchini is going to add a little color to our dish. It's going to add green. You can always choose veggies in the store that have different colors, reds, greens, yellows, anything that you can add to your dish. Color means healthy, so you want the most color you can get. And as you can see, I took the zucchini and I simply cut it in half. I cut both ends off. And then you want to hold your knife on the board and you want to slice into half rounds. That's going to be a nice shape in our fried rice. And like I said, it's going to add a lot of color. Plus you get all the vitamins from the zucchini. So we're going to move that off our board. And we're going to get ready to cut up bok choy. If you've never tried bok choy, please look for it in your store. This is the big bok choy. It also comes in baby bok choy, little smaller ones. They have a delicious flavor. They're in the cabbage family. So the greens are edible all the way down to the bottom. And we're going to chop this to put in our fried rice as well. Remember I said this is a really healthy dish? A lot of people don't consider fried rice as something that might be healthy for you to eat. But you're going to have all these vegetables. You have rice. You have a nice sesame oil, which is a good oil for you. So it's a great healthy meal. You can do chicken, you can do shrimp, or you could do just veggie, either one. We want to do this the same way we would do lettuce. So we want to cut into it this way. And we're going to make little strips. Just like that. And then the same way we do the onion, you want to turn it back and you want to slice. Now, of course, the end is going to give you the nice green color you can see from the end. When we get down here to the other end, it's going to have white. It's a different texture. This is more leafy. It has a little bit more bitter flavor. And when you get down here, it's a little bit sweeter and crunchier. So it's two different things coming from the same plant. All right. The rest of it we're going to save for our veggie stock. We have all of our veggies cut. We did the onions, the mushrooms, our pea sprouts, our bok choy. We're ready to go to the wok except for our protein. Now you can use whatever protein you'd like, or you can use no protein at all. You can do just veggies. But today we're going to use chicken. And if you're going to use chicken, I recommend using chicken thighs. Now, you'll notice that I have the chicken thighs on a separate board. You notice I have a glove here as well. I recommend that you always have gloves like this at home for doing things like chicken. They're also good for cleaning if you have to touch things that you don't want to get on your hands. But chicken is one of the things that you want to make sure when you cut chicken, if you happen to touch it, you can't touch anything else in your house. I mean, you can't touch the knob to wash your hands. You can't touch anything. They say when you cut chicken that you need to make sure you clean everything in the house afterwards, even everything you thought about while you were cutting the chicken. So don't touch anything once you touch the chicken. But what the glove does is once we get done with our chicken, we can peel the glove off and throw it away. We're still going to wash our hands, but we're protecting the rest of our surfaces from that chicken. So raw chicken is one of the things you want to be really careful with. But if you notice today, I have chicken thighs. The reason I have thighs is because thighs have the most flavor. It is the dark meat of the chicken. It does have a little more fat than the breast have, but it adds the most flavor to any dish you use it for. And what we want to do with these thighs is just cut them into strips. I've got boneless thighs because it's just making us easier for us to put this in the pan quickly. And fried rice is a quick dish, so you want to make your life as easy as you can. Go ahead when you're at the store and pick up the boneless thighs. And you're just going to cut them into big chunks, just like that. They don't have to be perfect. Don't worry about that. When they put them in the pan, they're going to cook and they'll cook evenly. You just want to make sure that you leave the fat on there and cut them up into chunks. All right, salt and pepper and our secret seasoning blend. We're going to go first with the salt, just like that, and the pepper. And about a tablespoon of the secret seasoning. If you have your own seasonings at home to use, that's fine too. But this is a seasoning blend that you can use on everything that you cook. Now, it doesn't have salt and pepper, so that's why we added that first. We're going to add 1 tablespoon of the seasoning blend, and we're going to get our chicken cooking. Now, what a wok does is cook really fast. That's the whole point of a wok. And what we're trying to do is kind of slightly brown our chicken. Once you put your meat in there, you're going to turn the wok up even higher because you're dropping the temperature of your pan when you add anything to it, and we want to keep it nice and hot. When we get our chicken all the way cooked, we're going to take it out of the pan, and then we'll start adding our veggies and saute those down. All right, we've cooked our chicken in the hot wok for about 2 to 3 minutes, depending on how big your pieces of chicken are. So now we want to get the chicken out, and we want to put it in a bowl to hold while we saute our veggies. But we don't want to go back in the same bowl that had the raw chicken. So we have another bowl. We're going to put our cooked chicken in this bowl, and we're going to hold it till the very end after we get everything else cooked. So you want your chicken to be about 90% cooked most of the way. You're going to go back in the pan one more time. So if there's a little leftover cooking to do, but you definitely don't want to eat raw chicken. So make sure that you have it mostly cooked. All of this bits and pieces that's left over in the pan, that's all flavor, and that's what we want. So we want to go back in with some more sesame oil, and we want to start to saute our veggies. We've got our bok choy. It takes a little bit longer to cook down, so you want to think about that when you're putting things in the pan. What's going to take the longest to cook down? And we have our onions and garlic, and we want to go ahead and get them in the pan as well because we kind of want them to cook down a little bit and get broken down into our rice so we don't have chunky pieces in there. So put that in there as well. All right, let's get this stirring around. And as I said before, the whole purpose of a wok is the high heat. Look at all the beautiful colors that are going on in there. That means healthy. That means flavor. All of this is good for you. And you can really make a meal to feed a huge family very inexpensively by making your own fried rice at home. All right, we want these to cook for just a second. And then we're going to get ready to start adding everything else into the pan. So we need to get our rice in there, and we need to get our shiitakes in there. We have the shiitakes that we cut up, the little slices right here. We're going to add them in now. And we're going to go ahead and add our carrots. Lots of color going on in this pan. And we have some other ingredients here that we're going to add as well, but those are going to come after the rice. So we're going to get this moving around. You want your veggies to still have a little bit of crunch when we get done, but not completely hard and crunchy. You want them just to have a little bit of bite to them. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of broth. Now I'm using a chicken broth because chicken is our protein today. You could use a veggie stock if you're doing all vegetable. You could use a seafood stock, whatever you would like. I recommend that you have some good broth or stock in your pantry at all times. We're going to add just a little bit. This is going to do two things. It's going to help these veggies to cook down. It's also going to help us get all that flavor off the side of the pan. The bits that were stuck, every little piece that's on there is going to go into that broth. And talk about flavor. It's going to be delicious. As soon as we get all that, we're going to add our rice. Now the rice we've cooked off already. This is jasmine rice. And we cooked about 2 cups. And you see how much 2 cups made? It's a lot. We're probably not going to use all of this. You want to cook it in a nice heavy pan. You want to cook it with a lid, and it takes just about 15 to 20 minutes to cook off your rice. You could do this step ahead of time, and actually I recommend that you do. Cook this off, have it ready. You could have it in the refrigerator. It could be cold. So this is something you could prep on the weekend, and you could do this meal during the week really quickly when you get home. So we're going to add some jasmine rice to our pan. We're not going to use the whole 2 cups. We're going to stir that around. You can see the rice dish starting to come together. Look at all the beautiful colors in there. And it smells amazing. The smell of the sesame oil, the smell of the garlic and the onions lets you know that it's going to be good. So let's go ahead and add our soy sauce. We have just a regular soy sauce. You could use the low sodium if that's what you like, but I recommend that you use the regular soy, but don't add any extra salt to the dish. We added salt to the chicken, but we're not going to add any salt to our rice because this is going to be our sodium for the rice. So we're going to add, it's going to be about 3 tablespoons all total. You can kind of eyeball it, stir that around, and then that's something you can also add after. Once you plate the meal and everybody's enjoying their fried rice, you can add more soy sauce at that point. All right, we've got that all mixed up. There's a couple more things we want to add in here. We have bamboo shoots. This adds a nice crunchy texture to it, and bamboo shoots are delicious. You can find these at any of your Asian markets, and some of your local grocery stores will have them as well. They come canned, so you can keep them in your pantry always. We're going to add those in, and water chestnuts. Another great staple for almost all Chinese food. We want to make sure that we have that crunch factor going on. Okay, we have all of our veggies in our fried rice. We've got our soy sauce in there. Now the next step, you want to take and make a hole right in the center of your fried rice, all the way down to the pan, because we're going to cook our egg. That's another protein that you're adding to your fried rice. So if you want to do a vegetarian option, you're still getting some protein in there with the egg. We've got fresh yard eggs. I recommend that you get them at your local farmer's market. Let's put a dab of sesame oil right in the bottom. Move the rice. See, I've made a little hole right there in the center. And we're going to drop the eggs in. And then basically we're going to scramble the eggs into our fried rice. So what you want to do is take your spoon that you've been stirring with and start scrambling the eggs around and get them cooking. As long as they're on that hot pan or in that hot rice, they're going to cook down in your fried rice, and that's what you're wanting. It takes just a minute for it to get all done, and then we're going to mix it all into our rice and add back in the chicken. Once the eggs are fully cooked, you can mix them in with the rest of the rice. You want to make sure that you don't have any raw eggs left in your rice. Okay, once your egg gets fully cooked, mixed in with the rice, you can go ahead and mix it with the rest. The heat from the rice itself will pretty much cook the egg, but you just want to make sure that you don't have any raw bits in there. So we're almost done with a meal that will feed, it looks like, at least 6 people. And this came together really, really quickly. So the last thing you want to do is add back in your protein. Remember our chicken that we had? It's fully cooked. I'm going to add that back in. And that could be any protein you choose. We just did chicken today. Stir that around. We're going to add a little bit more soy sauce, about 2 more tablespoons, and we're going to top it off with some chopped green onions. I just cut them a little bit on a bias. We're just going to top our meal off with that. We'll also save a little bit for the plate, just to put on top and make it look nice. There we go. Our fried rice is done, and I'm going to show you a quick way to make an egg drop soup to go with your fried rice, and we will have a great meal. We're going to make a really quick egg drop soup now to go with our fried rice that we just finished. And what I've done is I've taken a chicken broth in a big pan and got it to a nice rolling boil. While it was boiling, I snuck in the stems of our mushrooms. Remember all the flavor that's in those stems, but they're not really good to eat. So I put them in the broth while it was boiling and let them boil away and give flavor to that broth. Now we're going to take them out, and we're going to get ready to add our eggs. We have 4 eggs here. Now, the amount of eggs that you use is determined by how much broth that you have in the pan. So we have about half a pot of broth, and we're going to do 4 eggs. It's 4 yard eggs, and we're just going to scramble them up just like this. Get them nice and mixed together. And then we're going to drizzle them in our pan until they fully cook. And then your soup is ready. So with your pan boiling, drizzle the egg just like that. And you'll see it makes like little sheets in the pan. Stir that around. It cooks almost instantly. Almost the moment you put it in there, it cooks fully. The last thing you want to add to your egg drop soup is just a little bit of our green onions, and then we're going to plate our meal. That's our lesson for today. We made our chicken fried rice with all those beautiful veggies in it, and we're going to top that with a little bit of our pea shoots that we put in there as well, just because they're green and they're interesting and they're going to look really nice right on the top. Also, we have our soup, the egg drop soup, that's really hot. The ribbons of the egg going through there with the green onions, and we're going to top that with just a little bit more green onions.